I want to continue now with reaction on the death of our colleague here at ENCA, the journalist and commentator Karima Brown. The seasoned broadcaster and analyst passed away this morning following COVID-19 complications. I want to talk now to the Public Enterprises Minister, Pravin Gordhan. Good afternoon to you and welcome. Throughout the day, Karima Brown has been described by many as fearless, contrary at times, I'm sure you'll agree, and dedicated to the truth. How are you remembering her this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Jeremy, and good afternoon to your viewers. Firstly, thank you for this opportunity to convey my condolences to her son Mikhail and to her brother and sister and the circle of family and friends. The way I remember Karima, and that's going to be for a long time to come, is a person who started as a political activist, has a long history of trying to transform the SABC into a public broadcaster. But as you correctly point out, someone who was brave, who was incisive, who had a phenomenal grasp of the subject matter that she was interrogating at any particular point in time, and passionately against the kind of corruption and state capture that we've seen in South Africa in recent times, and absolutely unapologetic about her patriotism and her passion to see South Africa become a country in which we realize the full potential of all South Africans.
And Minister, that contacts list that she had within government and beyond was enviable. There were many times when you would be in discussion with her. She would be sitting next to me at this table, and in a commercial break she would suddenly phone someone, who knows, maybe you, and she'd be able to produce something new out the hat very, very quickly. That's real old school journalism, isn't it?
It is indeed, and I think we need a lot more of the old school journalism today than we've needed before. And that is particularly relevant in a context, as you know, Jeremy, where fake news has become a dominant theme, where we live in an age of misinformation, which, if you repeat often enough, gets has the ability to tarnish people's reputations, but also communicate wrong facts. As you learned from the U.S. experience over the last few years, and in the last year in particular, around whether there was a virus called COVID-19 or not, and whether it was going to infect and kill people or not. And that's the tragedy that we today face in South Africa. And it's really a sad loss to see Karima being a victim of this virus.
You were on the receiving end on many occasions as an interviewee. What was it like?
Well, partly it was fun because it was an engagement worthy to undertake with someone who knew her subject matter, and undertaken with a great deal of respect on both sides of the table. But that didn't mean that she didn't ask uncomfortable questions when they needed to be asked. And of course, I hope I've done justice to the answers that I provided to her during that time as well.
She wasn't, as you rightly say, Minister, afraid to call people out. Didn't matter what side of the political spectrum they were. There's a lesson here for young journalists, for young broadcasters, isn't there?
No, certainly. I think in this age of sound bites and superficiality, we certainly need, as we said earlier on, journalists who have a passion for learning their subject matter, being interrogative about the phenomena that are unfolding in the world today. And there are many, particularly in the pandemic and post-pandemic world, whether that affects the politics of the world and different countries, the manner in which economies are suffering, but also the debates that are taking place around the future of an economy that needs to be a lot more inclusive and a lot more fair and a lot less unequal than we've had until this point in time. And regrettably, we don't quite see that in adequate quantities at the moment. And hopefully, in commemorating Karima Brown, your fraternity should pay special attention to how do we bring up a new generation of journalists who are familiar with their subject matter, but also understand the kind of trends that are unfolding around the world. South Africans are too used to working within very narrow parameters, actually, as far as the conceptual grasp of some of the phenomena that we see unfolding, and too little thinking in heterodox terms and entertaining new ideas and out-of-the-box thinking. And you can see, if you look at Professor Abdul Karim on your show every now and again, the scientists have really come to the party in relation to understanding this virus, but also being able to think outside the box, but use the kind of capabilities that they have to keep populations safe both here and elsewhere in the world. The same applies to society, the economy, and politics as well.
I appreciate that. Pravin Gordhan, Minister, thank you very much for joining us. It is a sad day in South Africa's political firmament today, and equally sad on this television channel.